Hi everyone, welcome. Join me for this super slow sequence. We're going to begin lying down. So make your way down onto the floor on your backs. Knees are bent here and you can walk your feet wider than your hips, as wide as comfortable, and allowing your knees to come together, wiggling around until you're really super comfortable. Letting your hands rest wherever they're comfortable, maybe on your belly. Letting your elbows sink down, or maybe extending them wide alongside your body. Comfort is queen. If it's comfortable, letting your eyes come to a close, or maybe keeping a nice relaxed gaze down the tip of your nose. Arriving here on the mat, giving your body to the earth. Noticing the contact points where your body meets the ground. Back of your head, neck and shoulders, elbows, arms, your whole back, your pelvis, hips, your feet grounding. And drawing your attention inwards to your breathing. Take the fullest inhale yet, filling up your lungs all the way down to the bottom of your lungs, as if you're breathing air into your belly. And then the slowest exhale, squeezing all the air out, navel towards spine. Slow, full inhale. Very slow exhale, all the air comes out. And from here, find a rhythm that's comfortable, just keeping these nice, steady inhales and exhales. Now and throughout practice, returning to breath when it's comfortable, when you need to. Letting your eyes blink open. Feel any movement here coming out of this pose. And adjusting the legs so your knees are above your heels. So walking your heels back in. Nice, comfortably here. We're going to lift the right leg up. So lifting the heel, bringing the knee in towards you. Maybe wrapping your fingers around, so wherever you can reach, wherever it's comfortable, and gently guiding that knee in closer to you. Giving it a bit of a wiggle, just noticing, feeling into your hip. Letting the rest of your body ground as you release that grip and extend your leg up into the air. Your leg comes towards straight. It might not lengthen completely. And you hold on to the leg wherever you can reach, maybe interlacing your fingers behind your thigh, maybe holding on to the knee, whatever it's comfortable, and keeping the back and your head grounded. Grounding both your hips as you reach through the heel, straightening the leg a little bit more. Bringing some movement into your foot, rolling your ankles one side and the other direction as well. Maybe pointing and flexing the foot. So pointing your toes towards the ceiling and then flexing as you reach the heel away from you. And then pausing here and finding a bit more length through that leg. Letting your toes point towards your forehead. Connecting back to breath. Well done, and as you release, letting that knee come in one more time. So holding on to your knee, guiding that hip around slightly in slow circles in one direction and the other. And then we switch sides, so letting the right leg come down, or whichever leg you were doing, lifting the left heel up. So same thing again, bringing knee in towards you, maybe holding on wherever you can reach, behind your thigh, top of the knee, and gently guiding that knee in towards you, towards your torso, towards your shoulder. Option to find a bit of movement here, rocking the leg from side to side. And as we release the grasp, again, we reaching the leg up into the air, bringing it towards straight. It might not straighten completely, and then holding on wherever you can reach. You can even grab a belt and hold on to your belt that way. So reaching through your heel, finding some movement in your foot, so rolling the ankle one direction and the other, pointing and flexing your foot. And then flexing your foot, reaching through the heel, grounding both your hips, especially that left one, as you find some lift through the heel. Maybe guide that leg in a little bit closer towards you. Connecting back to your breath. And then releasing that leg, knee comes in again. Maybe squeezing that knee towards you. And then holding on to your left knee and circling your hip. So you're guiding your knee around in one direction and then the other. Well done. Back to center. Feel free to wiggle around, make any movements that feel right. From here we're lifting both heels off the ground, so that the shins are parallel to the ceiling. Your hands come to rest anywhere you like. Maybe you interlace them behind your neck. So wherever you are, grounding through your shoulders, grounding your lower back, and bringing your attention to core. So bringing that awareness to your center, slightly drawing your navel in towards your spine. Notice what this does to your core. Does it feel any different? Maybe slightly tucking your tailbone in. And keeping that awareness into your core, that core engagement. We're going to begin by moving very slowly. So releasing one heel to the ground and then floating it back up. So keeping the knees bent, then the other side. flowing that leg back down and back up. Let's connect this to our breathing. So on the exhale, lowering that knee, that leg, tapping your heel, and then inhaling back up. And then exhaling the other side, super slow. And super slow inhale back up. So how slow can you make this movement? One side and then the other. Finding your own rhythm here. The knees remain bent. Pausing at the center whenever you need to connect back to your breathing, connect back to your core awareness. An option to keep going with this movement. Or maybe you can experiment with straightening the leg as you go down. So still tapping the toe and coming back up, bending the knee again. But as you exhale your leg down, you're straightening the leg. Just notice how this option feels. So doing one option or the other. Super slow core engagement. So whichever option you're doing, do a couple more on each side. Or take a rest if you've had enough. How slow can you breathe? And how slow can you make the movement that follows your breath? So once you've done a couple more on each side, release your hands and release your legs back down, grounding the soles of your feet. Maybe walking your feet a bit wider, knees a bit wider, letting your knees come and just fall to one side and then to the other, finding some movement in your hips here. So windscreen wiping your legs to one side and the other. Feel free to pause and breathe. Maybe do so on the other side as well. And when you're ready, coming back to center, hugging both knees in, so guiding your knees in towards your torso. As close as comfortable. Maybe wrapping your arms around. Maybe squeezing your knees together, maybe lifting your nose up towards your knees. And then releasing back down. Well done. From here we're going to come up into box pose, so on our hands and knees. And you can just roll to the side and come up. Or if you wish, you can start rocking back and forth, hands behind your knees. A couple of times and then coming all the way up. So coming onto your hands and knees, spreading your fingers wide. Knees underneath your hips. And we begin by just noticing what it feels like to bring some weight into our wrists. So we're circling shoulders above wrists. You can bring your hips into this. You can bring your shoulders into this. Finding some movement here. One direction and the other. And then coming to neutral back, lengthening your spine, neck is relaxed. And then on the exhale, we're rounding our back, chin to chest, navel towards spine. Holding here and breathing. Moving on the exhale, coming back to neutral back. Lengthening your spine. So we're doing just half of the cat and cow. We're just doing the cat today. Lengthening, moving on the exhale to round your upper back. So tucking your tailbone, tucking your chin in. Inhaling and lengthening. Moving on the exhale to round one more time. Releasing. Well done. From here, coming up to your fingertips, maybe bringing that right leg in between your hands. And feeling into the pose. So adjusting where you need, wiggling around a little bit. Just finding where it's comfortable here for you. And as you ground into that front foot, strong legs to come up, hands onto your knees. Staying here, maybe lifting your arms up, reaching, fingers towards the ceiling, shoulders relaxed. Arriving here into this pose. Breathing here. On the exhale, letting your fingers come back down. Fingertips is fine. Tucking that back toe under. So we're lifting up the knee, lengthening our spine, maybe hovering on our fingertips, maybe hovering our hands off the ground. So feel free to adjust here, maybe walking that foot further in. So wherever you have enough balance, enough strength to engage through the midline, engage your legs to come all the way up into a high lunge. So back heel is lifted. Keep that back knee soft and find a comfortable position here for your pelvis. Letting the tailbone point towards the floor, and then lengthening that strong back leg. Maybe lifting your arms up. High lunge, arriving here, connecting to your breath. Front knees bent. So giving your body to the earth, noticing what it feels like to ground into this pose. Moving on the exhale, letting your hands come back down on either side of that foot. Knee comes back down. And from here we're going to find some movement, rocking our hips back and forth. Back and forth. So the front foot, the sole of the foot remains grounded. You can experiment with pointing your toes up. Staying here for a few rounds of breath. Or again, finding a back and forth movement. Letting your hips sink back and forwards. Bending that knee as you come forwards. Straightening that leg when you come back. Next time you come forwards, pausing here. Again, sinking into the pose, adjusting as you need. Option here to leave that knee down on the ground and maybe tuck your toes under. So whichever option you're going with, grounding that left arm down, grounding that hand down. As we peel our right hand off the ground and open up into a twist, opening up to the side. Staying here for one round of breath. Hand comes back down, knee comes back down. Finding your way out of this pose, back into tabletop. Neutral back. Keeping your hips above your knees as you walk your hands forwards. I'm just coming back a little bit on my mat. So walking your hands forwards, grounding your palms, extending through your upper body, and finding that length all the way. From hips to shoulders, shoulders to wrists. And breathing here. Lifting your head, walking your hands back in. Coming back into this box shape. Connecting to your breath. Nice steady inhales and exhales. And this time, wiggle your left foot forwards, left foot in between your hands. So finding this lunge position here. You can sink further into your hips, or you can just keep it nice and contained here. So wherever you are, finding that engagement in your midline. Strong legs, squeezing everything in to come up. Maybe keeping your hands on your knees. Or lifting your arms up. Fingers towards the ceiling. Shoulder blades softening down. Breathing here. Moving on the exhale, hands come back down. And we find a bit of motion here, so you sink forwards, bend knee, and then hips come back as you lengthen and straighten that leg. So rocking your hips back and forth, your hands can follow, walking back and forth. And you can experiment with sole of the foot down, or lifting your toes up, pointing your toes up towards the ceiling. And you can pause here in either of those. So rocking back and forth, or pausing, straight leg. Left toes pointing up towards the ceiling, lengthening that leg. Long spine. Maybe finding a couple more of these motions. And then we're pausing as we come to the front. And again, option here to leave this knee down or to lift it up. So wherever you are, grounding the right palm as we lift our left palm off the ground, peeling that shoulder open, reaching fingertips towards the ceiling, pausing here for one round of breath, strong legs. Hands come back down, knee comes back down. Wiggling that foot back, hips over knees. And one more time, walking those hands forwards, finding a puppy pose, releasing your forehead to the ground. Lengthening your upper body. Coming back up, walking your hands in. from here we're going to find a seated position. You might want to grab some pillows if cobbler's pose is a bit of a challenge for you. So we're sitting here, knees bent, soles of our feet together. And then you can hold on to your knees here for some extra support. Or as I said, just placing some pillows here so you can rest your legs into your pillows, into that support. Another option is to hold on to your ankles and deciding how much of a stretch you want here. So we can begin in this diamond shape and then adjusting the heels closer into you or heels further away from you. Just notice where you feel the stretch and where you would like to work from. So wherever you are, lengthening through your spine, grounding through your sit bones. You can bring your attention inwards, maybe close your eyes for a moment. Option here, if you'd like to increase the stretch, begin to fall forwards. You can even open up your feet, giving them a bit of a massage here. Bringing your elbows to the inside of your knees. And just making that decision of how far you would like to take this option. Just being very mindful of where you need to be today. Eventually rounding through your back, releasing your head, relaxing your neck. And breathing into sensations you feel. No judgment. When you're ready to come up, pressing through your sit bones, strong core, rolling up again. Coming up, maybe blinking your eyes open. Very carefully bring the legs back together. So guiding on the outside of your knees, your hands guiding your knees back together. You can give your legs a bit of a shake. And then bringing the soles of your feet back down, resting into your hands behind you. A nice open chest. And letting your knees come to one side and the other, as we did earlier in the practice. And you can bring your legs closer together or a bit wider apart. You can pause on one side. Maybe pause on the other one as well. Coming back to center. And from here, finding a pose that suits you for our final relaxation. Maybe you lie down for Shavasana, lying down on your back, or you find a seated position where you can find some stillness as we close the practice. So wherever you are, letting your gaze just rest somewhere. not looking at anything in particular, or letting your eyes close completely. Noticing where your body meets the ground, feeling that support underneath you. Staying here in Shavasana or seated meditation for as long as you have time for. If you're ready to come back, finding some movement in your hands and your feet. Maybe finding a full body stretch. Blinking your eyes open. If you're lying down, rolling onto your comfortable side. Pausing there for a moment, and then coming up to a seated position where we bow our heads in gratitude to our practice. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the practice, and see you soon.